to the Thought SNOB Podcast. I'm Paula Swope. Let's get snobby. Welcome to another episode of the Thought SNOB Podcast. I'm your host, Paula Swope, and I've got my husband, Will, back here. And if you guys have been watching us for any amount of time, you know that we switched up the format a couple of months ago from having longer episodes with, like interview style guest episodes. We still do those, but fewer and far between. We switched to shorter commentary episodes. And these are a little more challenging for me because I don't know what I'm going to talk about until like the last minute. I sometimes have a general idea, but basically Will gives me a question or a topic, and then I just riff. So, what am I going to riff about today?
You're always talking about these sayings that you can't stand. Sayings like money is at the root of all evil. And I know there's others, but if you could talk about what those sayings are and why you dislike them so much.
The sayings just irritate me because people present these clichés as wisdom, and they're not wisdom at all. I mean, they've been overused, and they're not rooted in anything factual. And they've been taken out of context, okay? So, yeah, I can talk about this all day. Okay. All right. Money is the root of all evil. Everybody has heard that saying as long as they have been alive. And speaking of being taken out of context, that's not what the Bible says. I mean, if people think they're quoting scripture verbatim, they're not. That's not what the Bible says. The Bible actually says that the love of money is, all kinds of evil. I think it's in Timothy. Okay. So, money itself, come on. It's like neutral energy. Money doesn't have like feelings. Money, you can't really personify money. And to say it's evil, it's ridiculous. It's what people do with it. But when I was little, I was brought up in a family that said, and this is also from the Bible, but I don't know where it is in the Bible, and I don't know exactly what the scripture says, but it's something like it's harder for a rich man to get into the gates of heaven than it is for a camel to enter through the eye of a needle. Okay, well, that lets you know that it's impossible. And so I was really conflicted about that growing up because I was taught to believe that, but then I had a father that had a determination and an ambition of an Amtrak fucking train, and his goal was to be wealthy, and he accomplished that goal. And I've always given him a lot of credit for that. He truly is a self-made man. He is. But what he did with his money was evil. Because he's a perfect example of somebody who put way too much stock and priority into material assets instead of people. Like the money was used to, is used to control people and to manipulate and get what you want through dangling assets in front of people. And hey, when it comes to money, some people, it's like dance, puppet dance, and they will dance as long as you want them to dance. And so that's when money can be evil, but it's not the money itself. It's the person that has it, and the intentions. It's the intentions of the person who has that money. But to say that money is the root of all evil is absolute bullshit. Take a look at the public education system, and you tell me which children are prospering the most. It's the kids who are in a school in an area where the people are paying the highest property taxes. It's the funding. It's the resources that the kids have. You go over to a really poor school district, and it's sad. I mean, the infrastructure is completely dilapidated, and the kids suffer. Okay? You tell me what some money could do. If somebody came in and had good intentions, brought some money into that school and revamped it, you think that's evil? Fuck no, it's not evil. It's like God in action. Money is God in action. Abundance is God in action. We need it. Where would the world be if it wasn't for wealthy people? Come on. I mean, a person that has an abundance of wealth and they share it. Oh my God, that's God. That's God taking human form. So that's why that saying absolutely drives me nuts. And two, it caused me to have some really messed up ideals about people with money when I was younger. And I was also in a family that judged rich people by how they got their money. Oh, well, it was handed to him, or it was just handed to her. Well, they don't work near as hard as I do. And it was like all these judgments. Well, they got it from here, they got it from there. Like there was even certain careers that weren't considered or, respected. I'll say that weren't respected, as much as others. Well, when you get the big picture here and you see that money is neutral energy, and that it follows and magnetizes to the people who believe that they can have it, then you will see that there's a reason why some people have more money than others. Now, okay, sure, there are some people, like I just said, that don't use their money for good, but that's the person. It's not the money itself. So that's why that saying just absolutely drives me nuts. Drives me nuts. If you think money's evil, then I want you to think about your hospitals. You break a leg tonight, you're gonna have to go to the ER. If money didn't exist, that hospital wouldn't freaking be there. Nobody would be qualified to even work on your leg because there would be doctors, because there would be no medical schools. So putting that into perspective there. Another saying is this one is you've heard people say, "Oh, well, that's just how I am. That's just how I am. That's just it runs in my family. That's just how we are." Okay. No, that's just an excuse for not wanting to change. It would be like me saying, "Oh, lung cancer runs in my family, so I'm just going to keep smoking." That's ridiculous. Yeah, lung cancer's wiped out some members of my family, and it was because of cigarettes. But I had a choice not to smoke. And I'm not real sure about this, but I don't really think lung cancer is, and I typically don't say that word. So moving forward, if I say it again, I'm just going to say C because I don't say that word. Lung C is not hereditary. Usually it comes from lifestyle factors. And so I chose to not smoke. I stopped smoking many years ago, and not to walk in my family's footsteps. But people will say, well, that's just how I am. And the translation of that is, no, I just don't want to do the work to be better. And that's not how you are. Like, you know, I've heard, my family say, oh, well, we're hot headed. We're rednecks. And okay, that's a choice. I mean, that's a choice. Most of these things are choices. And people will, struggle with a really bad habit, and it's destroying them. And they're like, well, that's just how I am. That's just how I am. No, it's not. It's an excuse. It's an excuse. And I'm not being a bitch by saying that. It's just sometimes you need awareness drawn to certain things. Sometimes there needs to be an awareness established. And just hearing me say this might cause a light bulb to go off. And if I help one person, you know what? My job's done for the day, because my goal for this podcast is the exact same goal that I had when I wrote my book, Thought SNOB. It's to give you something that you can realistically walk away with that will help you change your life for the better. And every single episode of the Thought SNOB podcast, I guarantee you there's at least one piece of information that will help you change your life for the better. I guarantee it. What's another one? Okay. I talked about this on social media the other day. Turn the other cheek. No, hell no. Okay. A lot of people use that, okay, rooted in religion. I'm a Christian. I turn the other cheek. Okay. I'm just going to say it. That is an excuse to be a spineless jellyfish. That is an excuse to not stand up for yourself or your spouse or your friends or your family or whatever the case may be. Turn the other cheek, get you off the hook like you've done a good thing. Let me tell you what happens if you continuously turn the other cheek. And what you're doing is you're tolerating abuse. If you keep turning the other cheek, if you're dealing with somebody and you have to turn the other cheek more than once, then you're around the wrong person. Because if you're around the right people, well, they don't make you. You don't have to turn the other cheek because they respect you. If you continuously turn the other cheek, your life is going to be full of these low vibe emotions that attach to other things that are low vibe. And you are going to develop chronic stress. And you do not want to develop chronic stress. Turning the other cheek is not healthy for anybody involved. Because if you're in a relationship and you keep turning the other cheek, all you're doing is enabling your abuser or the person who's disrespecting you, however you define abuse. If you leave somebody's presence and you don't feel well, then something there is not right for you. You don't keep turning the other cheek when somebody treats you like shit. And if you do that, then you're going to develop a lot of frustration, anger, resentment, and the underlying emotion there is sadness. And you got some fear going on because you're afraid to walk away from somebody who treats you badly. Now, why is that? Why? Why would anybody want to stick around somebody that treats them like shit? So life is not about turning the other cheek, my friends. Life is about creating a life where you don't have to turn the other cheek. Okay? I hate that saying. It's bullshit. Another one I hear often is, I die for my kids. We can, kind of stop the melodrama. I don't know of anybody personally that's ever had to die for their kids? Not like not I mean every day. It's just I've never known of anybody personally that had to die for their kids. Most parents don't need to die for their kids. They just need to live for their kids. Being a good parent can mean, a whole lot of different things. I mean, the research shows, this is kind of a known fact. Kids actually thrive from present, like emotionally regulated parents, like not martyrs, sit around and talk about I'd die for my kids. You don't have to die for your kids. Just, you kind of maybe stop lying to yourself about parenting. You can love your kids and not like them at times. Let's keep it real here. I never had any kids of my own because I didn't want them. I didn't want to have kids. It wasn't anything I ever wanted to do. And I'm not cut out for it. Not cut out for it. And too many people have kids that shouldn't have kids, and that comment very well might get me into a lot of trouble. Don't care. I don't care. There was an episode that happened here in Kentucky a week or so ago, and I don't watch the news, so I don't have all the details, but a mother lost custody of her little boy, and the judge at some point or another granted her custody back. I think the child had been living with his grandparents maybe, and he got back into the custody of his mother, and she killed that child. She killed that little boy. I think this was in this might have been in Breathitt County, maybe, here in Kentucky. You can look it up. I'm not looking it up. I don't even want to know. I don't know anything about it. But they found him, and she, it was out of a shadow of a doubt. She did it. So not everybody needs to be having kids. Like, if I was the president of the United States of America, that is something I would see there somehow be some kind of a checks and balances on that. Not everybody should be allowed to have a child. It's not fair to anybody involved. But people say, I die for my kids. They want to, like, people, they become parents, and it's like they want to make it out to be like parenting is something angelic, They're just all of a sudden, these angels, because, they had kids and they're raising kids. Well, there's nothing really angelic about the whole process. It's like real life, and raising a kid is fucking hard. And people need to stop with all that. They need to stop with all that. Call it what it is. I love my kids. So how about that? I love my kids. I would do anything in the world for my kids. And I think that most people can make that statement, and it would come from a place of authenticity. Most people. But is it necessary to say I die for my kids? Fuck no, because you're not going to have to die for your kids anyway. It's an attention-seeking thing to say, to make yourself look like this angelic person. Sorry. So let me see. Another one, I can't get a break. You've heard people say, I just can't get a break. Can't get a break. Really? Like, is that true? Like, all the time? Because if it is, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? I know somebody who has had, I don't know how many DUIs, a bunch of DUIs. And every time that he would get arrested for driving under the influence, which is very preventable, he would say, God, I can't get a break. Well, actually, you have a choice. You could call a cab. You don't have to drink and drive. Nobody ever has to drink and drive, but Just continue, get DUIs. There's a mug shot. There's a mug shots in jail. It's just a mess. But I can't get a break. I don't like that saying. It's like learned helplessness. That's it. It's like learned helplessness. It's like believing you're powerless makes you stop trying. And the people who say that, they really believe it. I just can't get a break. And there have been times in my life I've said it too. You won't hear those words coming out of my mouth in this day and time, but I used to talk that shit too. And it's like, are you sure you can't get a break, or maybe are you addicted to like being a victim, or do you just like to say that to get attention to see what the person you're talking to will say, like, or what kind of reaction are you looking for? And it's like, again, let's look at the facts, because the facts are that you could get a break. You just need to maybe make some changes or something maybe of that nature. Somebody said something the other day, and I hadn't heard anybody say this in a while, but it's something that my family used to say a lot, and that I just repeatedly heard over the years. And when you say, you tell somebody something, and they say, "Must be nice, must be nice." I don't like that. Those 3 words tell me a lot about a person, and I'm not making judgments. It's a legit observation. Those 3 words, "must be nice," those 3 words expose people. If somebody, it's jealousy. It's like jealousy wrapped up in those 3 little words. And it's like, you tell somebody something like, maybe, "Hey, I'm going on this fabulous vacation," or, "Hey, I quit my job to live my dream. I bought an oceanfront home," or, you share good news with somebody, and their immediate response is, "Must be nice." And people said that to me so often over the years, even when my life sucked. I could share the least little bit of good news. "Must be nice." I just started saying, "You know what? It is. It is. It's very nice." Just those 3 little words, it shows that, that person feels inferior because they're comparing their life to the person that they're talking to, and they feel inferior because maybe they feel like they haven't reached that level of success or something. If you use those 3 words, stop doing it. Become very mindful, resist the urge to say it, because it's a very disempowering statement to make. It's the same as saying, "Well, I am very jealous of what you've got because I can't have that." That's what those 3 little words mean. Must be nice. Now, there is a huge difference between bragging and sharing good news. I used to brag when I was really, really young, and I did that because I was terribly insecure, and I wanted to one up the person that I was talking to. And in my little undeveloped brain, I thought that if I talked about material assets or whatever, name dropped or whatever, that it would give me that, I wanted to feel superior, and it's like instant gratification. Like the moment you walk away from a conversation like that after you've been bragging, you don't feel superior. I used to feel, I would think about what I had said, and it would really feel kind of stupid when I became, more aware, more self-aware, just in general. But there's a huge difference in somebody who's bragging and somebody who's just talking about their life. And go easy on people who brag. Like, you really don't have to be around them if you don't want to be, but just know that there's a sadness lurking in them somewhere, and at some point, someone has made them feel lesser than. Somebody has made them feel like they have to work triple time to be equal. They feel like they got to prove themselves. If you spot somebody who brags, that person's been treated badly by somebody. There's a deep insecurity in there. And so go easy on those people. Just go easy on those people. Be mindfully aware. Don't try not to take what they're saying too personal. You don't have to be friends with them. You don't have to hang out with them. Just have an awareness of that. It's just them. You're basically intimidating them, or they wouldn't be bragging. Okay, so no need for you to get offended. That's just the truth. That's just the truth of the matter. But if somebody is just sharing details about their life, and the other person they're talking to takes offense to it, then there's a problem. And if you just, all you can say is if somebody is excited with some good news and they share it with you, and we'll just say, okay, oh my God, I came into some money, and I'm gonna resign from my job, and I'm gonna pursue my dream. Finally, I'm gonna pursue my dream. I'm not waking up to an alarm clock anymore. I'm so excited about this. It's the first time in my life, I feel excited and happy. And if somebody is sharing news with you like that, and you say, must be nice, no, that's not cool. That's not cool. Check yourself if you feel that way. And in the moment, if it's eating you alive, by what they're saying, they're just sharing some good news. Have some practice empathy, step into their shoes, because one day, you might be excited and ecstatic about something, and maybe fell into some great fortune, and you're sharing it with somebody, and you're so excited, and you're sharing it, and you're happy, and their response is, must be nice. So just check yourself there. And sometimes the universe has a funny way of communicating with us. If there's something that you really, really want, you might run into somebody who has it, and they tell you about it. And that could be the universe's way of showing you, hey, you're going to have this too. This is meant for you too. This is why you're seeing this. You might react a little different, because that's happened to me numerous times over the years. And once I became aware that maybe somebody's trying to tell me something, then I wasn't so quick to judge, and I wasn't so quick to compare my life to somebody else's. Comparing your life to somebody else's is an absolute guaranteed killer of joy. So just be mindful of that. And I could really seriously go on about this forever, but I'll stop here. I don't even know how many I just rattled off. There are more floating around in my head. Maybe I'll save that for social media. But if there are any sayings that irk you, I'd love it if you would leave those in the comments, and I'll address those in a video on social media, or maybe in a podcast episode or something. So I love talking about these sorts of things, because it's just real talk. It's real life. I mean, you can be talking to people and they just haul off with some real crazy shit, and you're like, where in the hell did that come from? Well, it came from somewhere. And now you got a little insight about where those off the wall comments might be coming from. Will, you got anything to add before we close out? You got anything?
I don't think so. That again, another great episode. Thank you all for tuning in, for listening, for watching. Give us a like, give us a follow, leave us a comment, and we will see you all next week. The Thought SNOB Podcast with Paula Swope has been brought to you by Thought SNOB Media in association with Special Purpose Studios. All production, mixing, and sound engineering by me, Will Swope. We hope you've enjoyed this podcast. please take a few seconds to give us 5 stars and leave a review. See you on the next Thought SNOB Podcast with Paula Swope.